And if you ask me her apology she had today, initially, it was, yeah, I did it and I'll do it again apology.
I didn't do anything wrong, but the fact that you guys are doing this to me and he's the man in this situation, I'm gonna comply. I am. I'm not gonna argue with you at all. But you have me on camera, but at the same time, what he has on camera, I have my phone, show something different. So if I need to show that, I will.
We're both abusive, mentally, verbally, physically, everything. And if I'm going to be on this and keeping it real, as we've been abusive to most of this relationship.
Sha'Carri Richardson is under fire after Corey Holcomb exposed shocking receipts that flip her entire victim narrative upside down. The question on everyone's mind now is simple. Did she really manipulate the world with lies? Corey didn't hold back. On his podcast, he went far beyond casual shade, directly accusing Sha'Carri of faking her victimhood. He claimed she weaponized sympathy, tried to frame fellow sprinter Christian Coleman, and then used her gender as leverage to get him in trouble. According to Corey, this wasn't just one bad incident. It was a calculated pattern. And the moment he said it, social media lit up. The turning point came when footage surfaced from an airport altercation. The video showed Sha'Carri aggressively swinging on Coleman as he tried to walk away. His body language was chilling, head down, shoulders hunched, almost frozen, like a man who had lived through this before. And when police arrived, the narrative flipped again. Sha'Carri immediately played the victim card, accusing Coleman of being the aggressor, even though the footage told a completely different story. Corey wasn't just making noise. He pointed directly at this footage, connecting it to what fans and insiders had whispered about for months.
Where you
he said this was the exact kind of manipulation that ruins lives, and he even tied it to his own personal story,
in trouble with the
warning
authorities
his son to
because
stay away
you
from
know
women with
most
violent
of the time
tendencies.
you
His words struck a chord with
have
viewers
leverage over
because
the
they weren't just
male when you
accusations.
say
They were
something's
exposing
wrong.
what looked like a blueprint Sha'Carri had used
I
before.
don't like
The
people
backlash
who
was
do that
immediate.
in this
Sha'Carri's
society.
apology video
If
only
you
made
are
things
a
worse.
female
Instead of
who
remorse,
tries
it
to
came across
use
as a
her gender
performance
to
filled
get
with
the man
smiles
you
and
with
forced words.
arrested
Fans flooded
intentionally.
social media calling
They
her
saw
out,
her
saying it was nothing
throwing
but damage
headphones at the
control.
man and
And when she
everything.
followed up
But
with
when the police
another
came,
Instagram post
she act
aimed
like
directly at Coleman,
it was the other way
declaring
around.
her love and apologies,
I
people
can't
weren't buying it.
forgive you for
Comments
that.
demanded accountability, some even calling for her removal from the league. Meanwhile, Coleman himself appeared in interviews defending her, saying she needed grace, not punishment. But his drained voice, lack of eye contact, and defeated demeanor only fueled speculation that he was being manipulated into silence. Even his family and fellow athletes started posting cryptic messages of support for him, signaling that those closest to him were done covering for Sha'Carri. And then came the silence. Sponsors like Nike and Sprite, usually quick to make public statements, stayed quiet. The Olympic Committee stayed quiet. That silence was deafening. Behind the scenes, it looked like teams of lawyers and PR agents were scrambling to figure out if her brand was salvageable or if she had become too toxic to touch. Meanwhile, Coleman himself appeared in interviews defending her, saying she needed grace, not punishment. But the way he spoke told a different story. His voice sounded drained, his eyes avoided the camera, and his entire body language screamed defeat. To many viewers, it felt less like a heartfelt defense and more like a script someone had fed him. Fans quickly pointed out how uncomfortable he looked, noting that he barely held eye contact. Corey replayed that interview on his show, dissecting every detail. He said Coleman looked like a man trapped, manipulated into defending the very person who had hurt him. And the saddest part, the audience agreed. Sha'Carri didn't stop there. After the footage and backlash, she tried damage control with an apology video. But instead of genuine remorse, the clip came off as smug. She smiled through most of it, claiming she was reflecting and taking accountability. The problem was, her tone didn't match her words. To fans, it wasn't an apology, it was performance art. Corey shredded it on air, laughing at her attempt and declaring, "That ain't no apology, that's someone laughing at y'all while she gets away with it." Social media lit up instantly with reactions. Tweets poured in saying things like, her apology video had zero remorse, sickening, and she's apologizing because she got caught, not because she's sorry. When that backfired, she tried again, this time dropping a long Instagram post directly addressing Christian. She wrote, "My apologies should be just as loud as my actions, honestly louder. To Christian, I love you and I'm so sorry." But by then, the tide had already turned. People weren't falling for it anymore. Instead, the comments were brutal, accusing her of fake remorse, of playing victim to keep her sponsors, and of manipulating Christian into silence. Some fans demanded she be removed from competition altogether. Others pointed out that if the roles had been reversed, Coleman would have already been banned for life, and that's when the silence became deafening. Big sponsors like Nike, Sprite, and even high-end fashion brands, companies that had proudly tied their name to Sha'Carri, suddenly went quiet. No statements, no defenses, no public press releases, just silence. And in the world of billion-dollar endorsements, silence usually means something bigger is happening behind the scenes. PR teams, lawyers, and managers were likely scrambling to figure out whether Sha'Carri's image was salvageable, or if her brand had officially become too toxic to touch. The Olympic Committee also stayed quiet, which made things even worse. Fans flooded comment sections, accusing the organization of protecting her because she was a star runner, while Christian was left to fend for himself. Over and over, people asked the same question. If this was the other way around, would she already be banned? That double standard became a firestorm online, and it didn't take long before athletes and celebrities started weighing in. Some defended Sha'Carri, saying the backlash was too harsh, but for every person defending her, 10 more came forward posting cryptic messages about wolves in sheep's clothing and protecting the real victims. And then came Genevieve Brown, Sha'Carri's ex-girlfriend. In an interview, Genevieve admitted that their relationship was mentally, verbally, and physically toxic, on both sides. The pain was written all over her face. She called it a painful lesson she was glad to leave behind. And the most telling part? Genevieve wasn't chasing clout. She wasn't looking for sympathy. She just wanted the truth out there after Sha'Carri painted her as a crazy ex on Instagram. That IG post had flipped the narrative at the time, making Genevieve look like the villain while Sha'Carri played the brave survivor. But now, with Genevieve's voice shaking as she recalled being threatened and sabotaged by Sha'Carri, fans began piecing together a disturbing pattern. Corey Holcomb used all of this as fuel. He reminded his audience that this wasn't just about one fight, one video, or one bad relationship. This was a blueprint, a repeated cycle where Sha'Carri flipped the victim card to protect herself while burning everyone else. But now, with Genevieve's voice shaking as she recalled being threatened and sabotaged by Sha'Carri, fans began piecing together a disturbing pattern. Corey Holcomb used all of this as fuel. He reminded his audience that this wasn't just about one fight, one video, or one bad relationship. This was a blueprint, a repeated cycle where Sha'Carri flipped the victim card to protect herself while burning everyone else. He even shared a personal story about warning his son to stay away from women with violent tendencies. His son didn't listen, got caught in a similar trap, and ended up with a domestic violence charge while the woman walked away free. That story struck a nerve because it paralleled Coleman's situation almost perfectly. As the storm grew, Christian's own family began speaking out, posting cryptic but supportive messages like, "Love doesn't hurt like this. Protecting peace is better than protecting pride." His cousins, teammates, and even friends in the athletic community started showing where their loyalties really were. And once his own blood stopped defending Sha'Carri, the internet knew the tide had turned. Corey pounced on this, broadcasting those family posts on his show and declaring, "Look, even the people closest to him are done covering for her. That tells you everything you need to know." That single moment racked up millions of views online, with fans calling it the final nail in her carefully polished image. By now, it wasn't just Sha'Carri versus Corey Holcomb. It had become an entire community peeling back the curtain on her behavior. Every old clip, every old IG post, every cryptic message from former teammates was resurfacing. What had once been whispers was now a full-on storm, and Sha'Carri was caught in the middle of it with nowhere to run. Behind the scenes, insiders said she was spiraling, ranting to friends, threatening to sue Corey, and even claiming that the world was plotting against her. But the louder she screamed, the clearer it became. She wasn't winning, she was drowning. And then came the breaking point. Christian Coleman went silent. No more posts, no more interviews, no more attempts to defend her. The last sighting of him was on a quiet flight overseas. Since then, total radio silence. And in that silence, fans saw the truth. Christian was done. His silence hit harder than any words could, because it looked like even he had finally tapped out. With Coleman gone and the truth catching up, Sha'Carri's entire empire suddenly looked fragile, hanging by a single thread. Her apologies fell flat, her sponsors stayed quiet, and the once unshakable image of the fiery underdog was unraveling in real time. As Corey himself said, This is what happens when you protect the wrong one. The truth always leaks out, no matter how many cameras, sponsors, or smiles you hide behind. Sha'Carri Richardson's saga wasn't just another celebrity scandal, it became a masterclass in how quickly a carefully crafted image can collapse once the cracks start showing. And those cracks didn't appear overnight. They had been forming for years, long before Corey Holcomb ever said a word. When Corey finally stepped up and called her out, it was like striking a match near a pile of dry kindling. The fire spread instantly. He didn't sugarcoat his words. He accused her directly of manipulating situations, weaponizing her gender, and using the victim narrative as a shield whenever things went wrong. And the reason his words hit so hard? Because they matched what fans and insiders had been noticing for years. The airport footage was the smoking gun. In that video, Sha'Carri wasn't the woman under attack, she was the aggressor, pushing, swinging, escalating. Meanwhile, Christian Coleman did what too many men in his position do. He froze. Shoulders hunched, head low, he looked like someone who had learned to endure it quietly rather than fight back. And when the police showed up, that's when the performance kicked in. Sha'Carri flipped the script instantly. At first, she brushed it off as just a regular couple's argument. But the second she realized she was about to be cuffed, she turned on Christian. She called him a coward, accused him of setting her up, and even claimed he was the one who put hands on her. That's the exact lie Corey warned about, the exact tactic he said ruins men's lives while leaving women like Sha'Carri untouchable. And his story about his own son drove that point home. His son, only 24 years old, got caught in a relationship with a woman who loved to fight. One day she hit him one too many times, and when he finally defended himself, he was the one slapped with charges. He was forced into rehab, branded with a DV record, while the woman walked away free. Corey's message was clear, Sha'Carri fit that same blueprint, and the footage only proved it. Now, the question isn't just about her relationships, it's about her career. Can she survive this? Will sponsors cut ties? Will the Olympic Committee finally step in? Or is this the moment Sha'Carri Richardson's empire crumbles for good?